We were celebrating my sister's birthday at an upscale restaurant in downtown Austin, a place where everything gleamed. The walls, the glasses, even the people pretending their lives were flawless. Everyone was dressed as if a miniature wedding had been thrown inside the dining room. Suits, heels, shimmering dresses, the works. The atmosphere buzzed with laughter, storytelling, and wine flowing freely. Sitting next to me was my husband Michael, calm, composed, the perfect counterpoint to the wild energy around us. He carried himself like a man who didn't need the world's attention to be noticed. Straight-backed, attentive, offering polite smiles and small comments here and there. Yet, compared to my sister's boisterous friends and their dramatic anecdotes, he almost seemed invisible. And maybe that invisibility sparked something foolish inside me, a desire to push him, just to see him react, to make him show some fire, some emotion, the kind of boldness these events seemed to demand. I had no idea how badly I would regret it. The trouble began when the conversation turned to romance and effort in relationships. My sister's newly engaged friend gushed about her fiancé like he was a fairy tale prince. Monthly trips, surprise gestures, handwritten letters, massages, flowers delivered to her office. Other couples joined in, laughing, teasing, comparing small romantic acts. Then someone asked, "Who's the most romantic guy at this table?" She squealed and pointed at her fiancé, and the table erupted in applause. Then someone, though I can't even remember who, looked at me with a playful grin. "And how's your husband doing at keeping you happy?" It was supposed to be light-hearted. I could have smiled and said, "He's amazing," and moved on. But some combination of ego, insecurity, and sheer stupidity pushed me to respond in the worst way possible. I raised my wine glass, smirked, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Honestly, I think I need a new husband." Laughter followed, but it was hollow, awkward, the kind of laugh people use when they don't know whether to laugh or feel sorry. I could sense the discomfort, but instead of stopping, I made it worse. I tapped Michael's shoulder and added, "Seriously, if anyone knows a guy who listens and actually takes initiative, send him my way." My sister's expression hardened instantly. She knew I'd gone too far. Her fiancé looked away. One friend bit her lip in unease. And Michael, he simply stared at me, not with anger, not with hurt, but with a chilling kind of coldness I had never seen. A silence settled over the table, heavy and unyielding. He set down his fork slowly, deliberately, exuding the calm of a man who had just stopped caring. He wiped his fingers neatly with a napkin, placed it on the table, and spoke in a low, steady voice, sharper than I had ever heard. "Well," he said, "if you're taking applications, I'll gladly free up the position tonight." The air seemed to vanish. Every clink of cutlery, every murmur of conversation, even the background music, it all disappeared. You could hear a pin drop, but he wasn't done. Leaning back slightly, eyes locked on me, he continued with the same icy precision. "You joke about needing a new husband. But maybe you should consider why your husband stopped trying in the first place." A quiet gasp came from across the table. My heart raced. His words weren't loud, but they hit like a hammer. "You've spent so long mocking, belittling, turning everything into a joke. You forgot that eventually people stop wanting to participate in your games," he said, pausing just enough for the weight of his words to sink in. He continued, "If you think disrespect is funny, it's no wonder you're looking for replacements. You don't know how to value what you have." I tried to respond. My voice shook. "Michael, He raised a hand, a small gesture that silenced me instantly. "No, stop. You weren't joking. You meant it enough to say it publicly." He sipped water calmly, then added with terrifying control, "You've embarrassed me before. But tonight you embarrassed yourself far more than you realize." My sister went pale. Her friend whispered, "Wow." Even the waiter froze, pretending to notice nothing. And my face drained of color. I had never seen Michael like this. Not once. He wasn't angry. He was done. Truly done. The realization sank in like a stone in my stomach. He stood. No theatrics, no slamming, nothing dramatic. Adjusting his jacket, placing his napkin neatly beside his plate, he looked at me with finality. "You want a new husband?" he said quietly. "Good. After tonight, you won't have to pretend anymore." I choked out, "Michael, please." He didn't turn fully toward me. "That's the problem. You only say please when the damage is already done." Then he walked out. No yelling, no scene. Just a quiet, devastating exit. The table remained frozen for nearly a minute. My sister stared at me in disbelief. Her fiancé muttered, "Damn, he really meant that." Someone whispered, "Why would you say that to him?" I shrank in my chair, heat flooding my face as the gravity of my words hit. I had mocked the one person who had always stood by me, the man who had supported me through everything. I had made him a joke, and now he refused to play along. The restaurant noise slowly returned, but the shame only grew heavier, louder, suffocating. Michael's icy, measured words weren't just a comeback. They weren't a moment. They were a breaking point. And I had caused it with my careless, thoughtless words. For the first time, I understood I might have truly lost him.